Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is Mike Watson with Cloud Data Consulting. I'm here today with Jeb Beckwith, former CFO at Clean Origin. Clean Origin is a client of Cloud Data Consulting, and they were acquired earlier this year. But we wanted to talk with Jeb a little bit about the project and some of the business results we got out of it. This slide has a case study already linked for the Clean Origin story. It's more about the technologies and tools involved. I'll show you what it looks like real quick, and you can go look at this on your own. But again, it's more of a CTO background on, the various technologies and tools we used. So, we're going to focus more on the business aspects of the project and the results we got. So Clean Origin is a company founded in 2017 that provided lab-grown diamonds in an environmentally responsible and ethically driven way. So that's the business that they were in. And I'm here with Jeb. Jeb, I'm totally curious to hear about your background and career roles before you came over to Clean Origin, and I'd love to hear that to start off with.
Sure. So I'm a reform banker, been in banking since the 1980s. My last stint was in banking was at Royal Bank of Canada, where I looked after global financial institutions through and then after the financial crisis. So very familiar with data, how important data is to all sorts of different businesses. I came to Clean Origin after making an investment. I knew the CEO. The CEO needed some financial help, and the first thing I did was, when I came to Clean Origin, I said, "Well, you've got a operation here with 52,000 SKUs. Each one of those SKUs is going to have a different gross margin that you have to attribute to that. We need to have a way that we're going to have marketing associated with each one of those, and so we've got to get better about." Our data integrity, our data manipulation, and so that's a little bit about my background at RBC.
And so when you were at Clean Origin, how did you guys start to realize you might need some outside help to, wrangle some of the data and analytics challenges you faced?
Well, as I said, we were drowning, and we knew we had a great product, right? We had this new product. Again, diamond rings have been around for a long time. This is the first one where we have something that was truly unique in that it was manufactured diamond, is exactly the same cut, clarity, color as anything else, chemically identical to mined diamonds. So we were really setting out to change the industry. And we did that actually since 2017. The mined diamond world has, as a percentage of total sales, has gone from 100% to now about probably less than 25% of total diamonds around the world. But in order to get from here, from where we were when I joined in 2021 to where we were when we just recently sold it, again, if you think about all the different kinds of carat sizes that you can have in a diamond, every diamond is unique. So we have different cuts, different clarity. You can have an oval, you can have an emerald cut, you can have a 2 carat, you can have a 1.5 carat, you can have a 5 carat diamond. The different settings, some settings will hold bigger diamonds, some settings will hold smaller diamonds. So the combinations of all those kinds of things were created a very complex kind of selling process. And originally we were all online. Eventually we opened up 6 physical stores to complement the online business and create an omni-channel environment. But it created a very complex kind of data gathering not only the data gathering, but data evaluation process for us. So we knew that if we were going to optimize this business and compete with some of the big boys and really change the industry, we knew we needed to have data that gave us the tools so that we could price our products appropriately, price our costs appropriately, look at the taxes, and then determine on a trial and error basis and an ABC basis, you know, how much wiggle room we had in terms of increasing prices versus different costs, where our marketing dollars were going to be best spent, which areas in the country were the best for us. So breaking down by geography, breaking down to a zip code level, breaking down by type of sale, whether it's a bridal sale or we also had fashion sales, breaking it down also by customer attribution.
Anything that stood out as far as what you learned about the data in terms of, comparing it in the e-commerce world that you were, tracking it in, and then thinking about the physical world where you were analyzing the idea of opening stores?
Sure. So again, originally we were purely online, but until we got that data warehouse up and running, we really didn't have we just had an anecdotal sense. We didn't have a tangible sense. We really need to get serious about omni-channel when we opened up our first store. We opened that in Dallas in the middle of COVID, and we did it because it was an experiment. We had heard from other retailers that omni-channel had some legs to it, and we wanted to explore that. In the middle of COVID, we had a brand new mall in the northern place called Frisco in the northern part of the Dallas Metroplex, that really needed somebody in center court. So the diamond business was a particularly good fit for that area because because we had the online business, we were bringing customers into the mall as opposed to sucking traffic out of the mall. So the mall liked that. The way we looked at that is we said, okay, so here's our sales and our sales growth over time for the whole universe in the United States. We broke it down by zip codes. Here's where that sales growth as a percentage of total sales is within that Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. And we got granular, less granular, more granular. So we looked at it a couple different ways. And then because we were a fast growing company, we wanted to look at this on a percentage of sales basis and not an absolute dollar basis. Then when we put the store in, we looked to see, well, so here's what we're doing in our four walls. Here's what we're doing in the geographic region without the store. And what additive sales are we gaining from that store being in process? And we found early on that we were basically doubling the sales in that region that we otherwise would have had. And so if you think about doubling the sales, at the time we were running at about a 50%, maybe a little bit less gross margin on a blended basis. So that more than covered the cost of opening up that extra store. And if you look at the traffic that we got from adding that extra store and the reduction in marketing costs that we had because we had that store basically as an extra marketing venue for us, it worked out really well.
And did that lead you to consider additional stores then?
Yeah, so the stores, the first store in Dallas was a real success, and so we, we took that model and we extended the first Dallas store for extended lease. We opened up another 5 stores in different kinds of markets because we wanted to do some experimentation to do more to find out really more where our client was selling was being driven to on a physical basis. So we opened up a small store in the Easton Mall outside of Cincinnati, which is a destination mall. We opened up a mall in the Tyson's Mall outside of DC, which was a fantastic place. We opened up one in very high end. We opened up another store in the Woodlands, both in the Woodlands and Woodfield. So Woodfield Mall is in outside of Chicago in Schaumburg. Again, very high-end, terrific store mall. And then in Houston, we had two stores, one in Baybrook, which is a large store in a more of a working class area, and then Woodlands. So we had a number of different kinds of stores in different kinds of geographies. And in each case, though, we were looking for, what's the upsell, what's the omni-channel benefit from that. So you take the costs of running the store, plus the sales, and you take the cost of direct marketing into that area, plus the sales, and what's your incremental sales on top of all that, that you're getting from adding those stores.
And did the additional openings bring the same level of what you called success with the Dallas store, or were they a mixed bag?
I'd say there were some, like anything else. You open 6 stores, all very different. Some are very different than others. We found what we learned was that our customer base was, generally higher end, not highest end. So we weren't competing with Tiffany so much, but certainly, I'd say so second quartile kind of customer in terms of income level. We were getting a lot of second and third kind of clients, and we ended up, especially in our higher end stores in Tyson's and Woodfield, we got a lot of shopping by her for her. So she would come in and she would see this beautiful ring. So it wasn't so much, a traditional bridal engagement business was probably 85% of the navigating on the site was done by her, and probably 90% of the shopping is done by him on your traditional bridal business. And that's why it was really important for that customer lifetime value, for us to take that initial bridal sale and translate that into an anniversary gift, wedding gift, birthday gift, or just a gift for yourself. And the customer lifetime value becomes critically important for a company like ours, because that marketing, the biggest cost of our customer acquisition is in that upfront marketing, getting that customer that doesn't know us or doesn't even know what lab grown diamond is, to come onto our platform. If we can get that customer into our database, comfortable with us, comfortable with our client service and our product, then the customer acquisition cost goes down to almost nothing.
So thinking about the project, the work that Cloud Data Consulting did for Clean Origin, were you always able to get the very specific financial, like reporting and analytics that you needed on things like gross margin, gross sales, even EBITDA, given that you had a lot of sales, promotions, discounts, taxes. I mean, it's complicated as all can be. And, you have a ton of data and you're dealing with omni-channel complications. So my question really is, were you able to get like the specific analytics that you needed from the data that we ended up prepping from the data source through the ETL to the Snowflake data warehouse, et cetera?
So I would say,
Looker, I should mention Looker that we use for analytics, right?
right. So I would say that, without, before we had, getting from A to B took a lot, because we had to get the mapping that was involved, because we're pricing each individual product separately. And we were getting our input through originally online through Magento and then later through a POS. So we had to mapping all that into Snowflake and then through the Fivetran ETL that we were using to get to Looker. Getting that mapping right took a lot of work. And I would say that Cloud Data Consulting was tremendous in that. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you. But once we got there up and running, being able to look down into an individual sale or an individual group of sales and be able to look at geography, or type of customer, or what's her activity versus his activity. Being able to look at the gross sales before discounts and returns, net sales after returns, look at our gross profit and gross margins for each one of the sales, being able to look at and then being able to overlay on top of that, of course, our biggest cost after our cost of goods sold was our marketing costs. So being able to target that those marketing dollars against our highest gross margin products and gross profit products gave us an ability to really tailor our marketing dollars against where we were going to see the biggest bang for the buck. So getting back to what you called EBITDA, or what I call marketing, operating profit. That the data that we were able to get through to pull into Looker and be able to show that, as opposed to doing a bunch of SQL queries through the Snowflake database was something we used every single day. It enabled us to look at trends and to do pricing and repricing every single day.
What tools were really like, the ones that stood out in terms of how you felt about them, in terms of easy use, effectiveness, just because we're partners with all of them. So I'm just curious to your feedback from your standpoint as a CFO versus the tech people.
Well, I mean, for the most part, we were using Looker every day, right? So I certainly realized that getting those Looker reports from Snowflake, I didn't have day-to-day interaction with Snowflake. I certainly knew how it worked. I didn't have day-to-day interaction with Fivetran. I knew how it worked. Looker we used every single day, and we would create ad hoc reports. Occasionally we do an SQL query directly into Snowflake, but Looker we used every single day.
Well, how did you feel overall about the cloud data consulting team and the work we were doing there?
Terrific. I mean, we would have once it was up and running, we would have occasional issues. There were always refinements that we were looking at and doing. We would have occasional issues where something would break, and an example would be, we'd have a diamond feed that was coming from some vendors, and the diamond feed would change, and that would break some of the mapping. So when that happened, you guys would be on it. We'd see it pretty quickly, and we'd flag it, and we'd have it corrected within a very short amount of time. So I think, once it was up and running, it really worked pretty well. The maintenance on it was really low. The usefulness of it was very good, and we could create, our own queries, really pretty easily. So you guys were terrific.
Any thoughts on?
And also very flexible too. So, right. So if I needed to call you or Andy, for something specific, we could do that. We used Jira to make sure that we had everybody's priorities aligned in the right ways, and that all worked out really well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning Jira, because I think about the big tools we use, like, DBT, Matillion, Snowflake on the data side, and Looker on analytics. But, I think about the fact that, we leverage Jira. I believe Slack was involved as far as a communication outlet. I mean,
Sure.
those kinds of things, being able to, incorporate all of that into not just the project guts, but communication with us, the consulting firm. I think that's critical stuff, that we, make use of all the best communication, because, as a consulting firm, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. So you know what we delivered, when we delivered it, and then you get the results in hand. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think of Jira and Slack and all the Microsoft products. I mean, I think that's sort of table stakes.
Anything else about the, project that you recall that you'd want to, bring up in this conversation?
Just that you guys were terrific to work with. Very flexible. I think reasonable in terms of cost. There was a lot of heavy lifting that we had. I saw you in the heavy lifting side and at the front end, and the more maintenance side at the back end. So you guys were very good to work with.
Well, we appreciate that very much. I want to kind of leave people with like, what's next for you, Jeb? Are you, you're working currently in your own consulting business, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So we're just starting off, but we put together a great team. What I want to do is take the success that we've had and that we experienced at Clean Origin and bring that to other small and medium-sized businesses that are either growing very rapidly or looking at costs. As a relatively small company, we're dealing with multiple different applications. So you have all of these different things that you need to think about and somehow integrate. We want to take all of that administration that every company has to deal with, whether it's you're keeping track of all your legal documents, your incorporation documents, your cap table documents, and your financial reporting, your HR reporting, and pull that into something that makes sense for your business, that's more economical than what you could do on your own, and allow you to focus on the business that's really important to you. So that's what we're doing. It's a business called Cooper Beckwith.
Yeah, sounds good. I just wanted to flash up our contact info one more time. So the Gmail here is fine for people want to ask about your financial consulting business, and they can
Yes,
connect
I
with
can
you
also be
here.
reached at jeb@cooperbeckwith.com.
Okay. Jeb@cooperbeckwith.com. And then this Gmail, then, obviously they can find you on LinkedIn, or through us at Cloud Data Consulting. We're easy to find. I'm super easy to find. My phone number's been on the World Wide Web for about 25 years. So I'll take the screen down here real quick to sign off, but appreciate that. That was great to hear about your business. Sounds like a great role for you to lead that in light of all the combination of both financial acumen that you have from all the experience, but also being really systems aware, knowing the IT side and being able to know how to leverage it for your financial needs and for the needs of the business in general. And that's a great combination for helping clients and whatever their business happens to be, while not worrying about the finance stuff. Because as you know, like a lot of us don't want to know about details of finance, but some people don't want to know the details of IT, just like, that's our business. So
Well, that's exactly right. And people, most entrepreneurs I found in almost 40 years of banking, most entrepreneurs want to focus on their business. They don't want to know about finance or HR until it's the end of the month, and then they want to know, how much money did I make,
how are
and
we going to get paid
where's
for
all
all
the
the stuff
cash,
we're
and
doing?
yeah, how can I invest it to make my business more profitable? So they want to know the answers. They don't necessarily want to get involved in the cooking. That's what we're here for.
Well, that sounds great. I really, really appreciate all your time today. I think this has been a great conversation, and I learned a heck of a lot myself that I didn't already know about, the things that we had done, because a lot of that took place a few years ago. But, I'm really thrilled to hear about your new options, and that, going through this story with Clean Origin has been a really interesting process for you. So thank you so much for taking the time to capture some of this with us. We'll have this video up, and people can, dig in deep and ask questions if they have any on, by reaching out to us. But again, thanks a lot, Jeb. This has been amazing. And I, can't wait to hear more from you down the road.